You know that I just can't count. Two step to the right. Then you type two step to the left. When I pick it out my check, you know that I just can't count. Stick it out my check, you know that I just can't count. Looking letter E. Third down, come on.
Good evening. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome into Titans and Truth. I'm your man, Chris, a.k.a. Blue Enforcer, and we have a great episode coming tonight, even though probably not a lot of wonderful news coming out today. But Titans and Truth is here, and as y'all can see on the title screen, COVID just won't leave the Titans alone. COVID just will not leave the Titans alone. And I'm going to give you a reason. I'm going to tell you why and what's going on and what could be happening and my thoughts about all of this going on. I'm glad everybody coming in. I'm giving a few minutes for everybody else to get in. Tighten up low. What's going on with you? I have heard that forfeiting is not in the cards, so hopefully it's not that. I see Al coming in talking about COVID has attacked my team and now my household. Oh man. Al, Oiler struck. Definitely got to put that on there and everything, but definitely giving prayers up to you and to the lovely Mrs. Pierce. That you do recover from COVID-19. This virus is definitely real. So, definitely stay quarantined. Definitely do everything that you can to stay safe. And that you and your wife will definitely get through this and definitely recover. So prayers up to Al and his wife as they battle COVID-19 as well. And like I said in the beginning, COVID just won't leave the Titans alone. That's basically the title of the show. As reports were coming in on Monday and Tuesday that besides the players that were on the COVID-19 list at the time, that there had been no more positive tests for COVID. That was on Monday and Tuesday, that there were all negative test results for the Tennessee Titans. So we're thinking, okay, if we can get to Wednesday with no positive cases, that the Titans will be able to go in and practice. And also remember to share this show out. Share it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Y'all see where to go down there at the bottom of the screen. Definitely make sure y'all share this show out to everybody. Let everybody know that this show is going so that more people can file in as we go. But yes, I mean, we had 2 days of negative tests. We're thinking, okay, get to Wednesday, no negative tests. Titans can practice and get ready for Buffalo. They've already rescheduled the Pittsburgh game for October the 25th. But unfortunately, our luck ran out today as it came to find out that 2 players tested positive today. One of them that was on the COVID list is wide receiver Corey Davis. However, they're still looking at that just to confirm if that was a true positive test, because they're saying reports are coming out right now, and as I've seen on Bleacher Report from some insiders, both inside and, of course, national pundits, that it's inconclusive whether that is a true positive test right now or not. But that's something that they're definitely looking into to confirm if this is indeed a true positive test. Let's see. And I think I have some information also. Yes, they're saying that right now there's a inconclusive positive test right now. And they're monitoring This is from Tom Pelissero from the NFL Network. He said a second positive test result this morning for the Titans is currently considered inconclusive. Still going through the process to confirm or not. That's why only Davis went on the list today. So they're looking at making sure that that was a conclusive and confirmed positive test with that. So, I mean, and right now, it's not really looking good right now. The Buffalo game is in jeopardy. And I mean, there's just a whole lot going on. What's up, King Isaac? What's up on Facebook? You joining me? Big old Titan basically saying without a bubble, this is to be expected. The NFL can't fault any team for this situation. Big O wishing well for Al Pierce and his wife dealing with COVID. On Facebook says seems suspect to me. King I said we play the Bills, we might get blown out. I don't know if that'll necessarily be true, but I mean we would definitely be at an unfair advantage. Chris Frazier, what's going on? Let's see. Stephen Burwell on Facebook said we should protest as a team, not play. Tell the league we are going to do an internal investigation and get it figured out. We have $1 billion investments in our players. Why put them out there in these conditions? I mean, in the meantime, our players get better. We practice and get ready for the next team. Forfeit the Bills game. Right now, I don't think forfeiting is definitely in the cards, and I wouldn't want them to do that. I would say I would want COVID to control that, but I mean at the same time, we do have to consider the safety of the players instead of trying to get money. So that's something that we definitely have to consider. Titans Up says, what's going on? What's going on? C-Dub 456 says, NFL needs something similar to a bubble. And this was something that I brought up when I posted about these COVID tests. Me and I believe Sedaris Young was talking about this. And I mean, yes, I thought perhaps the NFL should do something similar to a bubble. Should be similar, do something similar to a bubble. The only problem with that is, I mean, yes, we see it where it did work in the NHL, it did work in the NBA, and the MLB dealt with a little bit of issue at first, but it kind of calmed down, and now, of course, they're going into a bubble-like situation. So, what's going on Facebook? Yes, the truth and nothing but the truth. And so right now, I mean, getting 200 to 400 players together in a bubble seems to definitely work. Only problem is with 32 teams getting around 2,000 players together, and that's not just including the 53 men on the roster, that's also the 16 guys on the practice squad. Getting somewhere around 2,000 players together could be a little bit more difficult. I mean, although, sorry, I had to get some water in my system. But I would think, as we discussed this before, if they did a bubble that says you have an AFC bubble in one city and an NFC bubble in another city, and maybe the only time that you travel is between the two cities if they're maybe in the same state. That way you could kind of maybe have a bubble where you could keep everybody in the same city, in the same area, and kind of keep it going. I mean, it would be very difficult to pull that off, but I think that would be the only way to maybe do some type of a bubble concept. I don't know if that'll necessarily work, but I mean, it would be something worth a try. Let's see. Courtney Jones on Facebook says, I'm not believing half the test, has to be thinking about all the other tests. And also on Facebook, somebody says, Jeff Simmons says that was not them practicing at MBA, Montgomery Bell Academy, which we'll get to that in just a moment. The truth and nothing but the truth. I definitely try to do that. What's up, AZ Mick? What's going on? And, now, I will say that at Montgomery Bell, well, I'll get into that practice in just a moment. I apologize for that. But a lot of people think it's shady. Someone out there says PK Paul Kaharski needs to shut his pie hole. Um, shut his pie hole, because of what was happening with that. And that's something that we're about to get to. And, before that, right now, with everything that's happening with COVID, we are now up to 22 players and personnel infected by COVID, or should I say, affected by COVID right now with these next two tests that have happened. And make sure y'all get them like buttons up too. Smash that button. Absolutely. So, that's something that is very concerning, that there is a pretty much an outbreak within the Tennessee Titan organization. Now, there are, of course, with the Patriots, Stephon Gilmore tested positive for COVID today as well. He, of course, along with Cam Newton, tested positive. I believe one of the Raiders, Maurice Hurst, tested positive for COVID-19 as well. And a lot of players were fined on the Raiders for attending an event, a charity event that was hosted by the tight end Darren Waller, and they were shown not wearing masks or anything like that. So they did get fined for that. So there are other players around the league that are getting positive COVID testing. The only problem is the Tennessee Titans have the most. They have the biggest cluster of players that are tested positive for COVID-19. That is a major concern. That is a big time concern. We got to see what happens going forward, because these are games that fans are supposed to be going to. So hopefully, you got to be careful that some of you do not get infected by COVID by being there at the game. And everything. So we definitely have to be careful. Cody Hanna says, what I don't understand is how the Titans have all these positive tests, Vikings have none. That is a very good question. I don't know if Shane Bowen got tested for positive for COVID in September. Not September, on the Saturday before the game, and did not travel with the team. I don't know how it happened that, the infection happened sometime around when they played Minnesota, and then they come back and all these positive tests, yet the Vikings have no positive tests. That is a little bit weird with that, but right now, of course, Stephon Gilmore tested positive, but we haven't heard anything with Kansas City yet as far as positive tests. So that's something that we're definitely trying to find out. Let's see. Big Dell, what's going on? Welcome in. C-Dub says they didn't want to put them in hotels. The NFL did want to put them in a hotel, but the players declined. I think the players should have thought differently about that. But the next subject is that, per Paul Kaharski, the Titans were caught. There was a photograph out that showed Tennessee Titan players practicing at Montgomery Bell Academy, a private school in Nashville, Tennessee, because they were not allowed at the facility. Now, of course, all the national pundits have come out and just think, well, the Titans just completely disregarded the rules, and the Titans violated the COVID protocols, and they should be punished, and all this, making it just made it seem like the national pundits are just attacking the Tennessee Titans, saying, well, they were told they couldn't practice, they were told they couldn't gather together, and they violated anyway. Of course, the national pundits are not here in Tennessee. Now, the NFL and the NFL Players Association was in Nashville, and I don't know if they still are in Nashville, investigating the Titans, trying to see if they broke COVID protocol. Now, here, I am going to pull up ESPN guy, Teron Davenport, showed the league memo that was sent out. Now, there were COVID protocols that were put out. And obviously, it seems like included was not practicing off-site. But this is the memo. Teron Davenport tweeted this out. tweeted this out 23 minutes ago. So this is per Teron Davenport, ESPN beat writer for the Tennessee Titans. And he said, remember, this is the memo that was sent out October 1st. The Tennessee Titans practiced at that school on September 30th. Here's the memo, and I'm trying to pull it up. Now, this says the club presidents, general managers, head coaches, and athletic trainers. This is from Alan Sills, who is the NFL's medical doctor. He is the NFL's medical advocate. And it says here, and I'm going to try to read as much as possible without reading way too much. What's up, Zach? What's going on? It says, as a reminder, daily testing does not protect you from COVID. All activities that an individual engages in during the time between testing impacts potential for infection. To that end, it is essential to wear a face covering, maintain physical distancing at all times, and practice healthy hand hygiene. There is one simple rule to remember. Act as if every person you come in contact with has a COVID infection and take appropriate precautions. This past week, one club experienced a cluster of positive COVID tests, that being the Titans, which included multiple players and non-player staff. This club may have exposed players and staff of the opposing team to the virus during their game this past weekend. Let's see. Okay. Testing and contracting tracing are essential and effective tools to help navigate situations involving positive test results. In addition, for any club that may be experiencing an outbreak or had an exposure to a club with an active outbreak, supplemental intensive protocols, post-exposure COVID procedures will be mandatory for clubs to implement at their facilities. Requirements include, in addition to daily PCR, that's COVID testing, all players in Tier 1 and Tier 2 individuals must receive a daily POC test and test negative before entering the facility and commencing daily activities. This includes PCR and POC tests on game day. All meetings must occur virtually. Wherever possible, activities will take place either outdoors. Whenever possible, activities will take place either outdoors or in large open spaces. That's when they're allowed to be in the facility. Face masks must be worn on the practice field by players and staff at all times, no exception. Face shields affixed to helmets are permitted to be worn during practice and walkthroughs. Gloves should be worn on the field by all players except quarterbacks, who may leave the throwing hand uncovered. Let's see. Basically, this is happening basically when they're in the facility being cleaned daily, things like that. Players receive medical treatment and rehabilitation, wear a mask and face shield. No team or player gatherings or group football activities will be permitted away from the facility. Dr. Sills is a consultant with medical experts will determine when a club must follow the post-COVID-19 procedures, as well as when they are relieved of these additional steps. Now, that was sent out on October 1st. The Titans held a practice on September 30th, before these protocols came out. So a lot of people are bashing the Titans, saying they violated protocol. They were told not, they were saying that the league told them that they could not gather outside of St. Thomas Sports Park, or that the NFLPA, Troy Vincent, the president of the NFLPA, said they cannot practice outside of the facility. Obviously, this memo was not told to the Titans at the time, because the day before these protocols came out, they practiced. And a lot of people are thinking, well, the players did this on their own. They violated this. And on Jared and the GM, I texted in and I said, okay, what if, okay, Ryan Tannehill obviously was the one that, led this players only practice. First of all, how do we know that they did not get permission from the coaching staff to do this? I said, I don't think the players would just outright do this on their own. Mike Vrabel did a press conference after these protocols came out and said, I told them that they should not should avoid gathering outside of the facility and social distance and quarantine. But again, before this October 1st protocol came out, when were these other protocols put into place saying that they violated? Obviously, there have been no dates. And the NFL is not going to come out and say, well, we were wrong and that the Titans did not violate. They're trying to say that the Titans violated those COVID protocols. But it is perfectly obvious that the Titans did this practice before these new COVID protocols said they cannot gather outside of the facility. And Roger Saffold tweeted out basically saying, this is our livelihood. We're trying to get ready for the next game. We don't want to be just out here cold, not ready to play. And, these Titans players are frustrated. They want to play football. They want to get back out on the field, but they want to do it safely and follow the rules. And then, of course, the NFL talking about investigating them for the mask protocols as well. And I'm thinking like this. This might be me being a homer, but I'm just saying, what evidence do they have? There's been no proof of evidence that the Titans violated these protocols. Now, again, we do not know if they did violate. And if they did violate, yes, they should be punished. Although the NFL, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, Dan Graziano, and of course Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk are thinking that some type of significant penalty is going to come down on the Tennessee Titans. Maybe taking away draft picks like a first-round pick, fines, suspensions to the players could be coming down. And it seems to me the NFL is talking about trying to basically hammer the Titans hard, trying to make an example out of them. Now, again, if they truly did violate protocol, as the NFL says they did, then of course they should be punished in some way. But I don't think it should be like a death penalty of sorts as what it. And I mean, they're not using that term. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it just sounds like it seems that the NFL is just so ticked off at the Titans and they want to do everything they can to destroy the Tennessee Titans. And I'm like, until we have evidence and proof, what can you do? What can you do? So that's what I'm feeling about that. And C-Dub says, I feel like this is going to get a lot worse, and I see the NFL delaying or canceling the season. I don't know if they're going to do that. The NFL want their money. They obviously value money a whole lot. AZ Mix says, I think league is going to make an example out of the Titans with severe discipline. That's what it seems like. Johnny Bell says, this season is probably going to get canceled. I can see it happening because more people coming down with this crap. And don't get me wrong. I absolutely hate COVID-19 right now. Because COVID-19 has affected me personally. I have not come down with COVID. I have not been positive of COVID. But I have known friends that have dealt with COVID. The Memphis Grizzlies season was delayed, and then that might have been part of a reason why they did not make the playoffs, which I think they should have still been in the playoffs anyway, but it affected their season. It affected the Memphis Tigers football season, and they just now got back on the field and lost the game to SMU. But I figured if they had actually had ample time to prepare, which they had weeks, but I don't know what their protocols were. And now, of course, it's affected the Titans. I just feel like COVID has been really unfair to me personally. And I feel like COVID just will not leave me the F alone. COVID, I'm sick of you. Leave me alone. Leave the Titans alone. Go bother some other team. Leave COVID away from the Tennessee Titans. Dag rabbit, we want football back. But we want it back safely. We want it back safe and sound. And again, prayers to all the players that are dealing with this. I want them to recover. I want them to be strong. Healthy. Health and safety is the number one concern. No doubt about it. I just had to go off a little bit. That was me being a little bit of a fanboy. Let me get back to being objective. Tyson says, I appreciate you powering through and doing the show even with this mess. We got to keep it truthful. We got to tell the truth. Zach Carpenter says, put it in week 18. Now, that is something that I think the NFL needs to do. That's something that I think the NFL does need to do is slate off a week 18, maybe add a couple of additional weeks in and push the playoffs back a bit. So that way, if something like this does happen to a team, even after their bye week, they can be flexible. But the NFL, and I put some of this blame on Roger Goodell, the NFL thought that they would just power through it. They're thinking that they're the big, mighty machine and that nothing will stop them from completing the season. Excuse me. Not taking that approach is foolhardy. I mean, ask the NBA how the bubble worked out for them. Ask the NHL how the bubble worked out for them. The NFL had months, like 6-7 months to prepare for this. I think they could have did a better job, honestly. Alpin said, when is the NFLPA going to set up and going to set the record straight? I don't know. Now, Jimmy, I'm going to put your post on here, but I may have to bash you a little bit. Got love for you, says, I am pissed and I don't care who knows it. It's nothing more than a cough and a sneeze with a little bit of hard time breathing. Well, let me put it to you like this. I know everybody is upset with COVID. Everybody's tired of COVID. I am too. But this disease is very, very serious. And you're saying it's a cough and a sneeze, a little bit of hard breathing. Let me ask you this. You might not want to tell that to the over 211,000 families who's lost people to COVID-19. Over 211,000 American lives have been lost to COVID-19. Well over 1 million lives have been lost around the world. So it ain't just a cough and a sneeze and a little hard time breathing. It's, it's hard time breathing. It's not being able to taste food and keep food down. It's chest pains. It's a lot of that. So it ain't just a cough and a sneeze, my friend. I appreciate your comment. And I understand where you're coming from. I understand you're upset. I am too. But it ain't just a cough and a sneeze. Titan Store says, Titan scientists, where's the vaccine? Well, it's going to be a while, y'all. Titan Store says, I'm sure there won't be a Pro Bowl. That's an extra week. Maybe not. We'll definitely see. What's up, Titans Mafia? What's going on? Facebook says, I honestly believe they're going to make the Titans play with whatever healthy 48 this week in practice or not. And you would think if the NFL really wants to stick it to the Titans, despite the COVID, they probably would make them play with as little or few players that they do have, and they will want the Buffalo Bills to beat the crap out of the Titans to teach them a lesson. But what I would think is this. The Tennessee Titans coming hard on the Titans, and if the Titans are able to play, use this as motivation. Take your players out there. That means everybody's going to underestimate you and just start beating teams down. Beat the crap out of them and make a point to the NFL that despite COVID, you're not going to stop us. That is a message that I think the Titans should send to the NFL. Okay, you want us to play? We're going to go out here and win despite that. That's what they should do. But we'll definitely see what's going on with that. We'll definitely see what happens going on in the future with that. But like I said, the game is right now in a bit of jeopardy. We got to see what happens tomorrow and see if the Titans will even be allowed in the facility. But this game is in a little bit of trouble. That much is a fact. Let's see. I'll read a couple comments. We don't need AJ and Corey Davis. Mariota win 9-7 with Harry Douglas and Dorial Green Beckham. I'd rather have AJ and Corey Davis on the field than without. Now, AJ Brown looked like he could return this week, which is a very good thing. Alpin is experiencing that. His wife is dealing with COVID-19 right now. So that's something that we got to see about. So, last but not least, before we get into Pick My Brain, because, again, we don't have a two-tone blue star of the week or dunce of the day because the Titans didn't play. Although I am going to bash one team for looking like fools. But that is this. The Tennessee Titans rival, the Houston Texans, they fired Bill O'Brien as coach and general manager after 6 years. It seems like it's been word that the Texans lost faith in O'Brien, that there were J.J. Watt had an altercation with Bill O'Brien. He traded away DeAndre Hopkins and everything. And, they're 0-4 and everything. So that's why it looks like Bill O'Brien got fired. Maybe he had too much power. And the question is this good for the Titans or bad for the Titans? I'm going to say this might be good for the Titans because right now they're leaderless. I mean, Romeo Crennel will take over as the interim coach, who I honestly thought they should have brought here as defensive coordinator. But actually, we play the Texans in 2 weeks' time. And the good thing is we will not be the first game under Romeo Crennel. Usually that first game, with an interim head coach might not be good for the team that is playing said team. But we're playing them the second time, so we might be okay. We might be okay. I mean, hey, Texans sucked so far this season. So we knew Bill O'Brien was in trouble, but Adam Gase should have been fired first. He's terrible. But that, I'm not going to spend too much time on Bill O'Brien get fired. Yay, helps the Titans a bit, but hopefully they don't get a really good head coach next season, and then we have our issues with them still. Now, Andrew Johnson brings up an interesting take. He says, if it were the Kansas City Chiefs, the NFL would crap on themselves. They are going to take care of their golden boy. Not having Cam Newton play, they knew it was a disadvantage. Now, I thought a lot about that. Because you noticed when this small outbreak started to happen with the Tennessee Titans, they were hesitant on moving the game. And they waited a few days before deciding to try to move it to Monday and then postponing it. But then when Cam Newton came out, tested positive for COVID on Saturday before the game against the Kansas City Chiefs, they quickly moved that game to Monday night. And then, of course, Stephon Gilmore tested positive for COVID-19, and then they showed him, hugging, shaking hands with Patrick Mahomes, and now the NFL is concerned about Patrick Mahomes. And that made me wonder, what would have happened if it's Patrick Mahomes that caught COVID, or Aaron Rodgers, or Russell Wilson, or dare I say, Golden Boy Tom Brady and the Buccaneers? The NFL would probably treat that a whole lot differently, because I agree with Andrew on that. They would be trying to protect their golden goose, their golden egg. They know Pat Mahomes is money. They know Lamar Jackson is money. They know Russell Wilson is money. They know Aaron Rodgers is money. And they're going to do everything in their power to protect their golden assets. And they would treat them a bit differently, in my honest opinion. Now, I could be totally wrong. But I just think that they would treat their superstars a little bit differently. They would take every precaution to protect that team, because they know if they lose that player, money goes down from betting, from TV. People are not going to want to watch a team not led by Patrick Mahomes in that game. People ain't going to want to watch that. So, and of course, the Patriots were at a bit of a disadvantage because they didn't have their star quarterback to help them. And, again, Ben Roethlisberger coming out saying, well, I feel we got the short end of the stick with all of this. I'm like, how the hell did the Steelers get the short end of the stick? They got to practice the whole week in preparation for this game, and then it was going to be postponed till Monday, so they would have gotten an extra day before it got postponed. How did they get the short end of the stick? We weren't going to be able to practice but 1 or 2 days. Y'all had 4 to 5 days to practice. How did y'all get the short end of the stick? So, for Ben Roethlisberger, cry me a effing river. Shut that crap up. And, Ty Bob said, from here on out, we'll see what type of team we have with all that's transpired. Zach says, it's bad news for us. Wish he would have stayed with the Texans. Only AFC South teams agree. AZ Mix says, Cowgirls dunce. We'll get to that. Gilmore tested positive for it too. They're going to have to test Kansas City people, and Patriots need to be tested well. And they haven't come out with anything else in the Patriots camp or the Chiefs camp yet, but they better do that. So that's something that they're going to have to keep an eye on. But let's go. And yes, I don't really have a star of the week, but I do have a dunce of the day. And I agree with AZ Mick. The Cowboys looked awful against the Cleveland Browns. They got embarrassed by the Browns at home. Now, the Browns are looking like they turned into a pretty good team. But so-called America's team got their butts handed to them. At one point, they were down 41-14. Now, they tried to make a comeback, but they ended up losing 49-38. But Cowboys got embarrassed. They looked awful. Cowboys are just not that good. Plain and simple. They're not that good. And we see it. CeeDee Lamb, pretty good. Dak Prescott, pretty good. Defense stinks without Leighton Vander Esch. The Jets are the Jets. Adam Gase, pathetic. The San Francisco 49ers, they're a dunce too, even though I kind of like the 49ers, but with all they had to do with injury-wise, I mean, you kind of feel sorry for them. You do. Let's see, Al Pierce says it takes 14 days for a person who has been in contact with a positive case to be out of danger. True. And I believe the incubation period is 2 to 14 days. So, yeah. I definitely say the Cowboys are a true dunce of the day. Jets are the Jets. Let's just say it. And the Arizona Cardinals start off like a blaze of fire, have lost their last 2 games. Lost to Detroit. So Arizona, not as hot as people thought, in my honest opinion. But let's go into pick my brain. Pick my brain. And then we're going to probably wrap up the show after this. But I got a question for y'all. And I'm going to look and see if we got some questions on Facebook. Question for y'all. How did y'all spend your Sunday without Titans football? How did you do it? I see Zay Anderson on Facebook, Courtney on Facebook, Lewis on Facebook, what's going on? But how did y'all spend your Sunday without Tennessee Titan football? Besides looking at the Dallas Cowboys looking like crap. Titan Mafia said, Cowboy loaded up in free agency and still suck on defense. Yep. That much true. And congrats to Joe Burrow getting his first win. But how did y'all spend your Sunday without Tennessee Titan football? I'm curious. I will tell you how I spent mine. I did watch a little football, but then I'm doing a little house hunting. So my wife and I went to take a look at some houses. And that's how I spent my Sunday. So we're live here on Titans and Truth. How did you spend your Sunday? Let's see. Al Pierce said, watching the Bears let me down. Well, I agree, because if they had beaten the Colts, that would have helped us out a lot. The Bears are a fraud. They're not that good either. The Bears are a fraud. The Cowboys are a fraud. We all knew that too. So, like I said, my wife and I, we were looking at some houses. Went and got some food. Just enjoy some time away. And it was kind of good to be, a little peaceful without Titan football a little bit. But I hate it because I love football and I love the Titans. Don't take football away from me, please. Don't take football away from me. I need it. I need it in my life. So, again, how did y'all spend your Sunday without Titans ball? And trying to see what other questions are out there. Let's see. And obviously there's a fan of the year contest going on. I think I'm gonna have to get into the fight. And I'm gonna have to get into the fight and see what I have to do. Let's see. Oh, we should be careful. If this game is played on Sunday, we do need to be careful of Hurricane Delta, because Hurricane Delta is supposed to be in the Memphis area maybe around Friday or Saturday, and then into Nashville by this weekend. So we do have to be careful with that, with Hurricane Delta. Hopefully it's kind of calmed down and it's just some rain, but we definitely got to see what happens with that. Joseph says, watch the Chargers-Bucks game, which I did watch a bit of that. The Bears sucked. Titan Mike said, I watch movies all day. That's not too bad. Al Pierce said, what would you think of the NFL calling a timeout and stop and play for a month or so and then start back up after the COVID is gone? Well, we don't know when COVID is going to be gone. Rumor is that COVID could be gone maybe by late 2021. So we don't know how long COVID is going to be around. It's going to be around for a minute. C-Dub said, watching Freeform 31 Days of Halloween. Now, I have watched some of those movies. I have watched some Beetlejuice. I have watched a couple of Halloween movies, some Hocus Pocus. I have watched some of that. So I definitely agree. Watching a couple of funny, scary movies, not too bad of an idea. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions, but hey, like I said, keep putting them out there. And we're going to definitely keep going into the Blue Bombshell. We're going to go into the Blue Bombshell to end the show. Because since we don't know if a game is happening, I can't really preview that. So if there is a game, if we do have a game, I will do a preview probably on Friday or Saturday. I will do a preview of Titans Bills if there is a game. So definitely get prepared for that. But my Blue Bombshell, first of all, Joseph put it up. Van Halen's guitarist passed away recently. So prayers go out to Van Halen. Let's see, their guitarist Eddie Van Halen passed away a couple days ago. So dealing with throat cancer for 3 years. So prayers out to Van Halen and prayers out to the family of Van Halen. Congratulations to the Seattle Storm winning the WNBA championship last night. Shout out to LeBron James. The Lakers are up 3-1. Friday night has a chance to finish off the Miami Heat. To finish off the Miami Heat. So that's something that could definitely happen. Ty Mafia said Beetlejuice is a classic. Definitely. So shout out to those teams. Again, Bill O'Brien got fired as Texas coach and general manager. I got to give a dump of the day and a Blue Bombshell. I know some people are not going to like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. To the President of the United States, of course, again, definitely don't want nothing bad to happen to anybody. Hopefully for recovery for the president, for President Trump and his family. However, he has done some more stupid things in midst of this virus, as far as showing back up after 3 days in a hospital, taking off his mask, waving like he's a hero, basically made for reality TV. Even though it was getting sympathy for everybody, made us all look like fools. And yet, he cut off the stimulus package. Lots of people who are out of work cannot file for unemployment and will not get unemployment until after the election. So he's basically holding a lot of people hostage, saying, well, I will not approve stimulus until after I win. So he's basically trying to force the people to pick him so they can get the stimulus package. I think that is wrong. I think that is messed up. He needs to shut his pie hole, and that is ridiculous. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Feel free to agree or disagree with me. My opinion, not the opinions of Titans and Truth. That is just of Chris Newell, plain and simple. But everybody, I think that's the show for tonight. I'm going to get off of here and get ready to watch some wrestling. Again, if there is a game, probably Friday night, I will do a recording previewing the Bills game with the Blue Enforcer 4 points to victory and my prediction and how this could happen. So that's something that I think I'm going to do. Make sure y'all share this show out. Spread the word on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter. And I thank y'all again for tuning in to Titans and Truth. I'm your man, Chris, a.k.a. Blue Enforcer. Thank y'all for tuning in, and I hope y'all have a very good rest of the evening. Joseph says, before I get out of here, do you think the Lakers will take the Heat down Friday? I'm going to say yes. I think the Lakers are going ahead and wrap it up. I think it's over. The Heat might get one more. Ty Mafia says Trump is awful. Agreed. I'm going to get ready to get off of here, watch a little wrestling, watch a little debate. I will holler at y'all. Got love for y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a great night. And let's see if I can put y'all some leaving music, as I like to always do. And even though he's the bad guy, still got love for him anyway. I gotta say, At the end of the day, all we got to do is live out our dreams, go for your dreams, and make it a reality. I am a fan of this guy. You gotta live out your dream. And whatever you do, make sure you're in the spotlight. Tighten up, y'all. I'ma holler at y'all. We gonna tighten up and we will defeat COVID. Good night, y'all.
Velveteen Dream. Velveteen Dream.